Mike Anderson here with the Reno Fly Shop doing another tying demonstration for you. Today we are doing the Frenchie, the French Nymph. This is a great European style fly. You can obviously use it under an indicator or even as a dry dropper rig as well, but a lot of the times with European style flies you're looking for a nice taper. You're looking for something that suggests an insect but maybe isn't specifically keyed into an insect. Today though we are going to tie this as a Baetis or a blooming olive. We are in the end of winter heading into spring right now. The Baetis are going to get really active on the Truckee River, and this is a great fly, especially in the size we're tying it in, which is 16, to really imitate that insect. You can tie this all the way up into a 12 as well, but just a really good fly. That little bit of red is going to give us a little bit of flash, make it a little easier for the fish to see, and then having that nice taper is really going to make it look buggy. So the hook is a Firehole 516 in a size 16. The bead is a slotted tungsten bead in a 2.5 millimeter. You can take a size 16 all the way up to a 3.0 millimeter. One thing to remember when you are upsizing your beads, you don't want to now match the size of the fly to the bead. You want to try and keep the fly as natural to the size 16 as you can, so it'll be skinnier with just a really big head on it, and it looks a little bit funny, but the fish really don't seem to mind too much. The tail and the body is pheasant tail in black, so all I did from the stem, I ripped off about 3 to 4 little feathers there. I'm going to line up the tips, and the tail I want to be just slightly smaller than the shank. Got to bring my thread back all the way to the bend. Then I'm going to tie in that tail, so just tying those tips pointing out. Perfect. We don't want huge tails on these flies, so that should do it. Now you can leave the pheasant tail on. It does become a little bit tricky. You'll see one thing with this fly is it definitely has an order of operations that you want to follow, and leaving that pheasant tail there can get a little bit tricky. So the next step is to add a little bit of red holographic tinsel. I like to kind of just put it on top, trap it, and then we're going to tie that in all the way to where our tails are tied in, just like that. And we are going to wrap that forward in touching turns, try and make sure to not have any of the underbody showing through. We're going to come up most of the way, grab it, tie it off, just like that. The reason I bring it all the way forward too, even though it's just going to be that little bit of end, is just to preserve the taper of the fly. Again, whenever you're tying flies, the taper, the silhouette is the most important. So we just tied that back. I'm going to now tie in a silver piece of small wire, and we're going to come back right to where I want that little red butt to end. Say about right there. Another little coating of thread. And then we're going to take the pheasant tail feathers again. You'll notice now I have them pointing the opposite direction. We're not tying in the tails. I wanted to kind of get those stems for the tie-in. They're a little stronger. So I'm going to lay those right on the hook. And then I'm going to do a little bit of taper work, a little silhouette work. We're pretty good though. And then you're going to wrap the pheasant tail in touching turns up the body. This is where if you have a rotary vise, it is super, super nice. If you don't, no worries, just wrap it up. Oh, don't do that though. Don't drop them. Got lucky. I was able to save it. Perfect. So the wire is going to give our fly a little bit of strength. I'm going to counter wrap that the way that I did the pheasant tail. And I want a nice, pretty obvious segmentation. Just like that. Tie it off 3 times in front, or sorry, behind, 3 in front. That gives you a nice pinch point. And then you helicopter off the wire. And a little bit of collar is just a black ice dub. So I don't want a lot really at all. So just this little wisp. Couple of wraps just to give me a nice collar. Give it a whip. Do one more. And then cut it off. So that is the Frenchie. Like I said, a really awesome European style nymph. Feel free to jump up to that 3.0 bead on there. You'll really be able to dial in your European style nymphing if you are kind of adjusting those weights. And if you don't have to adjust, say, the fly, if let's say the Frenchie is really working well, but you need just a little bit more weight to get down and you don't want to add some external weight, split shot or tungsten putty, then having just one up-sized bead in the same fly can be really crucial to keep you nice and effective. So this pattern is available at Reno Fly Shop and renoflyshop.com, and the tying kit will be available at both locations as well. So tie this up. Until next time, have a good one.